In today's video, we are going to be learning how to make a clean brownie, all right? This is a brownie without processed sugar, without processed junk, without processed additives, all right? Completely clean brownie that you can make at the house. Let's do it. So today we're going to be using the brownie from Simple Mills. This is their almond flour mix. So if you guys want to look on what's on the inside, we have almond flour, of course, coconut sugar, chocolate chips, cacao powder, tapioca starch, arrowroot, sea salt, and baking soda. So to start out, I got our oven preset to 385. Now it says 400 on the pack, but I like to add water to my mix. So I'm going to add a little bit of water to it. And when I add water to it, that's going to make the brownie a little softer. This one does tend to be a little drier if you cook it the normal way. And that's due to the almond flour. Almond flour is a very dry flour, and I don't like my brownie dry. So let's get into it. Now, this recipe calls for oil or butter. You can do half a cup. Me personally, I like to use butter, but it kind of varies on what I have on hand. Also 3 tablespoons of water, and then also 2 eggs. Now, if you want to make your brownie a little softer, you can go 1 egg. Sometimes I do go 1 egg, but today we're going to go 2. All right, let's put the butter in and melt that down. I'm also going to add some oil in there. Avocado oil, by the way. Some avocado oil in there. As you guys know, I do not consume seed oils. So you will see me either cooking with olive oil, avocado oil, or any oil that is not a seed oil. Also, a tip when you guys are melting butter, you always want to keep it on low, especially if you're using butter with salt in it. If you have salt in it, it burns very quickly. Now, I usually don't buy butter that has salt in it for that exact reason. But if you're in a situation where you can't find any unsalted butter, make sure to keep this heat on low because the salt will burn very quickly. So we got the eggs in there. I'm gonna whisk these up. Push it up viciously. Yeah. All right. We're going with our butter. Let me find my thing. All right. Going with our butter. This is oil and butter. I cheated because I didn't have that much butter, but whatever. Got our water here. Cup of water. Got a pack here. All right. Now, mix this up. Make sure you get all the corners. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I don't own a whisk. And as long as I've been cooking now, the fact that I don't have a whisk is pretty incredible. I'm not gonna lie. Like there's absolutely no excuse for me not having a whisk. And I'm not gonna sit here and try to make up an excuse for not having one. Just laziness. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. All right. And I think I'm gonna add more water to this. The consistency is decent, but I do want it a little bit more runny. So I'm gonna add a little bit more water to it. So a little bit more water. And like I told you guys earlier, when you add water like this is going to make your brownie a lot softer and not so dry. But once again, this is completely preference. Like I said, if you like your brownie more dense and more firm, don't add extra water to it. All right. See what that's looking like. I think we'll rock with this. I'm also gonna dump in some hemp seeds, little hemp seed dust I have left over, some extra nutrients. If you guys want to add something to your brownie, you can do that as well. All right, this off. I usually like to try to add something to my desserts to get them a little bit more nutritious. All right, I like that consistency. Now, when I'm cooking, I always cook with glass pans. If you guys can cook with glass pans, these are a lot less toxic and they don't have all the chemical additives that they put in factories. So if you can, always cook with glass. A lot better for the body. All right, put some oil in there. Make sure you get the sides. Make sure this doesn't stick. All right. If you guys can too, want to make sure you always have a spatula. That way you can get everything out of the bowl. The spatula is going to make this a lot easier. If you have a spoon or a fork, you're not going to be able to get the sides out like that with a spoon or a fork. You need a spatula that can bend and get all that extra batter out. That way you're getting the most out of all your food. Efficiency is key. All right. That extra bits out. Bangers. Now we're going to go on with the brownie. Ooh, that's banging. Once again, I got mine at 385. If you guys want to go higher, you can go higher. Now in the pack, it does recommend 23 to 27 minutes for baking time, but I am going to go a little bit longer since I did add all that water to it. So I think I am going to go, let's see. I think we're going to do, we'll go about 30 and then check it. Now, while the brownie is cooking, you do need to take out a tab of butter. All right. So get you a whole stick of butter. Now, this is not part of the recipe for the brownie. We're going to use this stick of butter to make icing. All right. This is my own personal icing. This has nothing to do with the recipe. This recipe makes it strictly for a brownie. I like to make icing for my brownie to make it a little bit more moisturized. So we're going to take this butter out and go ahead and let it start softening. Okay. Because when you make the icing, it needs to be soft. If the butter is hard, you're not going to be able to make the icing. All right, timer's going off. Let's check. Wait. Let me find my oven glove. All right. Wow, I don't think this is done at all. Oh no, it's still water, you can see. All right, so this is it after 30 minutes. Now it's clearly not done. You guys can see still a lot of movement going on. So we're gonna put that back in for another, I'm gonna say, so focus here. I'm gonna say, maybe do another 20 minutes. 20 minutes in here. We'll check on it again. Now, while we're waiting on the brownie to finish, we're going to go ahead and start making the icing. So for this icing, I did half a cup of gluten-free all-purpose baking flour. Now, typically, I don't use this flour. I usually use buckwheat flour, but I couldn't find any. So really, any flour that's gluten-free is what I prefer. And then, of course, the staple coconut sugar, non-processed sugar, natural. So in this bowl, I have half a cup of the all-purpose gluten-free flour and then half a cup of the coconut flour, the coconut sugar. I already mixed it. We have the butter right here, so we're gonna go ahead with the butter tub. Put that in there. We're also gonna add in a teaspoon of vanilla. All right. We're also gonna add about 2 teaspoons of salt. This is sea salt, by the way. You wanna be careful if you're using like iodized salt, things of that nature, because they're a lot more salty. And the last thing you want is your icing to be too salty. Now, we're also going to add some milk in here. I got Organic Valley. Now, we're just going to put a dash of this, but we're going to do it at the end. So, what you kind of want to do is just start breaking it up. And it likes to stick a lot. So, you want to just kind of work that butter. And what you're trying to do is essentially mash the butter down. And like I told you guys earlier, it needs to be soft so that you can mush it around. If the butter's too hard, you're not going to be able to form it. And what I'm doing is, as I'm mushing all this around, all that sugar and all that flour is meshing to the butter, right? So now, as you guys can see, they're slowly working this into it. And as you move the butter around more and more, it's going to continue to melt and mesh into the sugar and flour. And eventually, what you want to do is, as you work this in more and more, all this is going to just become one piece and create icing. Now, we're going to start going in with a little bit of milk. And you don't want to do too much liquid when you're doing icing. You want to do it bit by bit, because if you put too much milk in there, it's going to make your icing very wet and it's not going to hold well. So you want to ease this in and slowly work it. You don't want to rush this. All right. And you guys see it's starting to slowly take shape. Right. You want a little bit of moisture in your icing, but you don't want it too wet. So I can tell it's getting there, but I am going to add just a dash bit more milk. Or just keep working it in, just like that. And see, now we're starting to get that texture of icing, just like that. And basically from this point on, you just want to smooth it. And as it warms up, that's going to allow you to smooth it even more. And now you guys can see it's starting to get the texture of icing, right? Now, what I'm going to do after you get done mixing it, I'm going to put it in the fridge and let it cool, right? You want your icing to cool a little bit so that it can stay solid. And we'll check on that in about 15 minutes. All right, timer's going off for old boy. Check on him. Ooh. It's looking good. It's looking good. Get a little fluff. Oh yeah, that's there. Look how moisturized that is, guys. It looks wet now, but when this dries, it's gonna be perfect. So we're gonna let this cool for about 20, 25 minutes, and then we're gonna put the icing on there. All right, so now that the brownie and the icing is cooled, we're going to start spreading the icing on there. And finish this bad boy up. There we go. And guys, you want to make sure that the brownie is really cooled when you do this, because if it's not going to spread well. The cake's going to stick, and we don't want the brownie tearing when we're trying to spread the icing. This is why I also told you guys that you guys want to invest in a spatula, and you also want to invest in a whisk. Right? I need to take my own advice. But you want a spatula so that you can spread this icing around, because it's going to be difficult to do this with a spoon. A spoon just can't get the corners and the edges like a spatula can, right? All right. A little short on icing. Looks all right. Happens, right? Probably could even let this cool a little bit more, but I was getting impatient, so. All right. Presentation was horrible, but so let me do it with this. Nah, I won't do it with the. Now we're gonna cut it in the middle. We're gonna cut again. We're gonna turn it. We're gonna cut. We're gonna cut again. All right. I also need to invest in a spatula myself. And there we have it. Look at that. Now that looks amazing. Thank you guys so much for watching. And I will see you guys in the next one. Don't forget to like and comment, subscribe. I'll see you soon. Take care.